Okay, hello and welcome. It's past midnight here in India, and it's been a hectic day with so many developments that have happened one after the other. And you mustn't forget the chronology and the way that each of these news items came completely in sync with each other. You had release from Bangladesh Cricket Board, you had a release from ICC, followed by a release from PCB, followed by another release by ICC. So, very well synchronized, I must say. Of course, it doesn't come as a surprise because remember, there were discussions that happened late last night, a meeting that went on for 5 hours, after which now you have the conclusion. And the big news is Pakistan India match happening on the 15th. uh, Pakistan's U-turn is complete. I know a lot of people pointed out it's not going to happen. People from Pakistan kept saying every time we came up with the news that U-turn is happening, and they said, you know, uh, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. We're not going to back down. Well, eventually the U-turn has happened. I'm going to analyze the entire going ons that happened today in detail. What do I make of it? What really went behind it? Who really came out as the winner? And who really has no face to hide? All of that I'll address. But before I go any further, for those of you joining me live, just in the comment section, give me a thumbs up if you can see me well, and if you can hear me well. Once I know that the audio is fine, the visual is fine, and the stream is smooth, I'll go on with my analysis. So yes, I get a thumbs up that I see. Shakib there and Harsh Dubey, all of them giving a thumbs up that everything is fine. Okay, great. Let's start. Firstly, I think what has happened today is a sort of a situation where everyone is going to come out as a winner. Every party. There are three parties essentially. There's Bangladesh Cricket Board, Pakistan Cricket Board, and of course the ICC. Each of that party today can claim that they have won. Okay, they can do some chest thumping, or they can pat themselves in the back, whatever you might call it, and they'll say, see, we have won. I'll tell you why. You look at it from ICC's point of view. They'll say, see, there was a crisis at hand, we've solved it, and all teams are on board. Everyone has agreed that big match that we all thought, or is the biggest draw in cricket, that's going ahead as planned. So ICC can claim victory. Coming to Bangladesh can claim victory because Bangladesh can say, there were threats that there will be sanctions on us. There were threats that, we'll get isolated. Bangladesh cricket will suffer. See, we have gotten a lot of these things in the deal. We have gotten assurance there'll be no sanction against us. We have gotten an assurance that we'll be able to go to the dispute resolution committee of the ICC. That means that you've removed me from the World Cup, but I can go to that committee and they'll hear our matter, and maybe if we win that case, maybe something might come our way. And ICC wasn't allowing them that. Now they're allowed that. And thirdly, you've given them a freebie on extra tournament between 2028 and 31, before they host the 50 over World Cup with India. You've given them another tournament. So they can also claim victory. They can also do chest thumping, pat themselves in the back. Now to Pakistan. Pakistan's press release, says that they have agreed to play India because of two reasons. One reason, because all boards and countries got in touch with them and told them that, listen, you're very important to us, and because you're very important, please reconsider your decision and come and play this particular tournament. So they said that, keeping in mind what other boards told us, namely Sri Lankan board, UAE board, I believe England, Australia also, there were talks at call them earlier. So all these boards told us that, see, we need you, don't do this for cricket. So we have, because we have great relationship with them, we have agreed to play India's match. That's what Pakistan is saying, point one. Point two, that they are saying in their comment is that because what we wanted to achieve, desired result we have achieved, because they kept saying, no, we are not playing India because you are treating Bangladesh unfairly. Now you've given Bangladesh so many things, So we stood by them, we bargained for them, you've given them, now we are happy, now we'll come and play. So Pakistan also, the third party, can also go and tell its own people, see, we did it, chak de fatte. So as I said, the way this is played out, all parties involved can claim victory. But by the same standard, all these parties have opened themselves up for trolling as well. Now, the opposition or people who don't believe in them can troll them also, because they've allowed that to happen with what has come out. Okay. How can they be trolled? Bangladesh can be trolled that, see, they kicked you out of the tournament and you just agreed for one extra tournament that you're getting. You got sold out for money, right? They said they will not put any sanctions to you. You agreed. So you're a sellout. It was a case of national pride. Remember, a lot of Bangladeshi fans were saying that national pride come first. We don't care, this and that. So now all these goodies have been promised, which are money related, and you've agreed. You're sold out. This is what now the people who are critical of Bangladesh can say and mock them and laugh at them. Same thing can happen to Pakistan. Many are already saying, there's a Hindi word being used, thuk ke chatna. Any detractors, critics of Pakistan, they can say this also. Are, see, you kept saying, na, you have taken the strong step. You're not going to back down. You'll show the cricketing. See, eventually we knew you cannot stick to this position. When it comes to money, when you see losses, you will make a U-turn. You are only doing tamasha. So critics of Pakistan can also say that. Critics of ICC can also say that listen, you kept saying nothing doing. We are the international body. We're not going to listen. Fall in line or go out. But you sent a team to Pakistan to negotiate. You have given freebies to Bangladesh. Now, one extra tournament you have given. So you have also compromised. So they can also be trolled. So as I said, the way this thing is panned out, every party can claim victory, but every party can be trolled as well. And both those things are absolutely right at the moment. Okay, but I'm going to take a look at ICC now and give you my own opinion. I would like to compliment the ICC, and I'll tell you why. You've got to take a look at it from ICC's point of view. What is ICC? ICC is nothing but a combination of many boards, right? What is their primary job? They are almost like a corporate entity that runs on finances. Their job is to ensure all the countries, no matter how big, small, associate or permanent members, anyone, have to be on the same page, and they participate in all tournaments and honor their contracts. That's their job. Now, they reached a situation where you were almost on the verge of a split in international cricket. A few days ago when we were doing live, that's exactly what we were saying, right? This is a crucial moment in world cricket where cricket can also split. The world of cricket as we know it might change. So it was a crisis situation for ICC. Let's not forget, who would have been hurt the most? ICC. BCCI would have carried on. They would have made money. Pakistan would have had major losses, and their cricket could have gone down to doldrums. But it seemed like they were ready for this suicidal scenario as well, right? Bangladesh were also ready for this suicidal scenario. But the one that would have been hurt the most was ICC. And I think they've done the right thing. Their job is to ensure everyone comes. I agree that, they took a couple of steps. They've given things which first they were saying no, like no dispute resolution committee. They told Bangladesh you can't go there. There was a threat of sanctions on them as well. They've backtracked on that, ICC. But I compliment them for doing that. They have also offered a tournament to Bangladesh. I compliment them for doing that because they have salvaged the situation. At the end of the day, if you look at it, don't look at it from India's point of view, Pakistan's point of view, from ICC's point of view. Their job is to ensure that everything goes on as planned and as smoothly as possible. Everything has not been smooth, but that's their job. So I will compliment the ICC in doing that. However, I will also criticize them for the fact that in all these parties involved, they all forgot one thing. And that's the most important person in this entire thing, and that's the fan. Nobody cared about the fan. We are, just about less than a week away from that big India-Pakistan encounter, right? What about fans? Hotel bookings, travel, buying tickets, how are they supposed to do it? In other sports, people book tickets 6 months in advance, 1 year in advance, and they reach and plan everything possible. Here, there's less than a week now, you're telling fans to do it. So I think this whole situation. The way it's been handled is quite abysmal. I think fans need to be taken better care of, and this is where I think this is a point, and I think this should be a scenario which ICC should look at it as a deflection point, should look at it as a catalyst to set its house in order. What I would like ICC to do is to become strong. Pakistan has used the India Pakistan bogey, and I think this should be a realization for the ICC to ensure now not have India Pakistan in the same group. Just take this bargaining tool that Pakistan has used, and quite unfairly at that, take it away from their hands. Take it away so that it doesn't happen. From here on, ICC needs to realize that this, otherwise, every team will, like look at Bangladesh, right? Bangladesh were also stuck, but nobody went to Bangladesh to ensure that you come back. I mean, ICC went there to negotiate, but they were stuck on their stance. And what did you do? You removed them. Why can't it be done to Pakistan as well? Why? Because you sold the India Pakistan game. Remove that. No, anything that can cause trouble for you, remove it. So I would appeal to ICC, and I've complimented them for the work that they've done. That's how they're supposed to do work. But I think this should be the point where, from going forward, don't sell that India Pakistan game as a must game to the broadcaster. Say it'll be an open draw. If it comes, it comes. So be it. Right? Market the other contest. India Pakistan on the field is nowhere even a contest that it used to be. I'm not saying it. Surya Kumar Yadav said it. He said rivalry is when teams are kind of equal. That's not there. There's only a historical context. But it's not ICC's outlook to look at that. Market an India Australia game. It's a better competition. Market other contests. India South Africa, much closer contest. India England, whichever way you want to look at it, market those games, so that you remove this bogey that Pakistan keeps using all the time, that we won't play, and threatens the rest of the world. Remove that. Change is needed for ICC. Let this be that point where they do that. Coming back to the negotiations and my opinion on the negotiations, how the negotiation has panned out, as I said, ICC has done a good job. Now I know there will be a lot of fighting, which I'd done another video on. Do check out, where people will say, see, people in Pakistan will say, see, all things they bargained for, they didn't ask anything for themselves. They bargained for Bangladesh, they got it. But and people in India will say that Pakistan also asked lot many more things, they didn't get it. Right? And that can still be a reality. It doesn't mean that the things that ICC and Bangladesh Cricket Board have agreed on are the only things that are discussed. These are the things that they have conceded to Bangladesh. These are the things they've allowed Bangladesh. So as that they are satisfied, so as by an extension Pakistan plays the game. But that's not to say that the reports that suggested that Pakistan was asking for a few more things to the ICC are not true. They may have asked those things. Maybe ICC put their foot down. They said, no, we can go this far, no further. And those things probably were not granted. Whether it was bilateral series with India, I don't know whether they asked or not. Whether it was being allowed a hybrid model even in the 2031 World Cup, which takes place in India and Bangladesh, maybe they asked for it, maybe they weren't allowed. So there is a possibility. Maybe the handshake gesture that was being reported Pakistan was asking, maybe ICC didn't guarantee that because it was outside the purview of ICC. So as I said, overall, all parties can claim victory, but all parties are also open to trolling, and they can be trolled. And both things, if you were to do, won't be wrong, because you have reasons to do that. That's what has happened today. Eventually, as I said, it's done and dusted. Decision is made. Hopefully, I shall be in Colombo covering that game. I hope once I'm there, the focus can get back to cricket, because last time I was there in the Asia Cup, more than the cricket, all we discussed was handshakes and airplane gestures and all that. I don't want to see that. And if you're an Indian fan or an Indian team, I would want you to do that, because when it comes to the two teams on paper, there's no comparison. India is the far better team. So, I'd like for them to now travel to Colombo, put their best foot forward, play their cricket, and make everyone realize that, what? We are certainly the best team between these two teams, and that rivalry is a thing of past. But I'd also like to tell Indian fans, don't indulge in more of these social media fights, because that will eventually put pressure on the Indian team. And always remember, as I said, cricketing talent right now, India Pakistan, no comparison. India should win. The only way India can have a bad day is if you were to put a lot of pressure on them about other contexts outside the cricket. So even Indian fans, if you focus on cricket, that will be great. That will allow our team then to focus the job at hand, and then we can do what we all like to do. At the end of the day, I think the one thing that connects everyone who may be on this live stream, I don't know from which part of the world you're watching, is cricket and our love for the sport, and let that sport play out in its truest form. I'll try and take a couple of comments before I wind up. Dev Pratap Singh Chauhan says, Nikhil bhai, on a lighter note, who won depends on whose media I'm listening to. By the way, our Sports Today, led by you, was the first to report everything, especially hint by Najam Sethi. Thanks so much, Dev. Yes, we tried to, a lot of times I was reporting and people get upset with reports because it's a report that, doesn't suit them. But they forget the report that I'm giving is not my opinion. So there's no point getting upset. I'm just sharing the real thing with you. If you don't want to listen to the real thing and you want me to say things that you only like, then that's not true reporting, right? I'd be misleading you. I'd be doing a disservice to you. So that's what I would like to do. But thank you. And you're right. It's sometime, who has won depends on whose media you're listening to. That's why I tried to give you a truer picture in this video, because there are all sides to the story. And that will help you decide as to, what is right or what is not. Harsh Dubey says only losers are Indian cricketers who need to play on Sunday in the most toxic environment, and God forbid if they lose, all hell will break loose. Harsh, I wouldn't want that. I just want to remind Indian fans, see, this is the best team that there is. But can the best team lose? Yes, maybe. I'm saying in 10 times, 9 times out of 10, this Indian team will beat Pakistan. But God forbid if it's that one day, don't be harsh on this team. It's just a league game. I think this Indian team still is the favorite to win the trophy. So let's not make it personal. Let's not put pressure on them. Shakib wants to know handshake ka kya hoga. I think that stance remains. I don't think there will be any handshake, especially after how things have panned out. That won't be played. I've got Saina, I think, if I've got your name correct. Sorry, because it's coming on my phone, I can't really read very well. He says, Nikhil sir, what tournament do you think Bangladesh will get? Because all hosts till 2013 would have been announced already. You are right. I think they may come up with another, sometime they, you used to have, I mean, you have a Champions Trophy already, but it could be a multi-tournament invitational knockout sort of a tournament, Independence Cup type like we used to have. So I think that is what they might do. ADJ says he's from Lahore, and he says, I love the way you talk. Thank you very much. Very kind of you. But it shouldn't be the way I talk. I hope the things I report is most important. अभिषेक रंजनी सर, पाकिस्तान मीडिया में चूरन चल रहा है, मोहसिन नकवी ने आईसीसी को झुका दिया, बांग्लादेश की डिमांड माननी पड़ी. See, this is exactly what I said, Abhishek. That's exactly what I said. As I said, the way this thing has panned out, it's left it open for anyone to claim victory. Anyone. But as I said, the downside to that is you also left yourself exposed or open to trolling and criticism as well. Both things are true. Atif says, you're very neutral. Thank you, Atif. That is what a job of a journalist is. And, kind of you to say that. One of our regular viewers, Mr. Mutton Biryani, he says, Nikhil bhai, this is surely an embarrassment for PCB. What a U-turn. Ha ha ha. 2029 Champions Trophy will be co-hosted by India and Bangladesh. Yeah, that is also a possibility. They might do that. Sohail says you are really biased. Okay. See, again, that's fine. That's your opinion. I mean, I'll let you have that opinion. Somebody is saying they'll be given under 19 World Cup. Really not sure on that one. Atman Vedya is saying, what did India get in this whole thing? But see, India wasn't involved. That's what I'm trying to say. A lot of people say that, ICC's Indian Cricket Council. Let me tell you something very honestly, right? If India was misusing ICC, then why would they need to have Pakistan come and participate in the tournament, right? If India was using ICC to its full potential, India brings almost 80 to 90% of total revenue of the ICC, but they only take back 38%. If they have so much control over ICC and they don't consult other boards, they'll say, we bring 80%, we'll take 80% of the revenue. What's going to happen to other countries then? Right? So I think that is also sometime unfair criticism that comes the way of Indian administrators. Good question by Vishal. He says, does the PM's voice not have any value? And I agree. You can look at it like that. Listen, and those questions can be asked to Shabazz Sharif, that you were, showing a lot of confidence, saying whatever happened, we're not going to play. What happened now? And that's why I said they've opened themselves for criticism. But then if you look at the reasons, they're saying, yes, we said we will not play India because of how you dealt with Bangladesh. Now you've done things to Bangladesh which has made them happy, so now we are changing our stance. So that's why I'm saying every way you can look at it. Rehan says, I follow you for a long time and I like you as a journalist. Only thing I dislike in this saga is you guys were talking about money all the time and you tried bullying Bangladesh. Finally, who won? Rehan, I mean, again, as I said, nobody has won, nobody has lost. But again, I will admit that ICC has gone out of the way to give things to Bangladesh. But I like how maturely Bangladesh has handled these things. When all of this was happening, ICC gave them a chance, play or go out. They stuck to their gun. They said, no, for us, national pride is greater than playing this tournament. We are not playing. We are out. And then they wanted to do many things. ICC wasn't ready, but they said, no problem, we'll keep fighting with the ICC and we'll deal with them in our own way. But they weren't really throwing the, toys out of the pram. Rehan, no need to thank me. It's just my job to take your questions. Sarthak says, I think the future of cricket won. That's an interesting one, Sarthak. It is... it's an interesting one. Yes, it has saved the future of cricket, which is why I complimented ICC, because from their point of view, they're a good thing. But I think if you really want to save the future of cricket, you need to put certain rules in place. You can't allow countries to hold you hostage. That is something that cannot be allowed. Something really needs to be done here going forward. Harsh Khatri says, Nick sir, you and your team have grown this channel from scratch. Kudos to your class act. Been a while. Hope you're well. Hope you remember. Of course, Harsh, I know you're a regular viewer. Thank you very much. It's all your kind love. And we just do the job that we love without looking too much into numbers. Just do what you love. Rest will take care of itself. Abdul is saying, how do you feel about this whole drama? No handshake and all this. People from India and Pak live in harmony outside subcontinent. We are so similar, but yet they are divided. Abdul, I'll tell you, I mean, I don't share my personal opinion on this matter, but I'll tell you what. See, I know that Indian Pakistanis are quite similar in how they are and their talking and their eating habits and all that. Quite similar. I agree. And I've met a lot of Pakistanis. They've been very nice, very kind to me. But you also have to look at India's point of view. I don't think, see, I'll tell you, and this is my opinion on Pakistan. Average Pakistani, I've been to Pakistan as well, and I meet a lot of them when I'm traveling abroad for cricket. An average Pakistani is just like an average Indian, especially the ones that I meet. They're crazy about cricket. They love each other's players and they focus on that. And maybe, they don't have hatred so much for Indians and vice versa. I agree. But the way Pakistan as a state functions, their policies, the kind of statements that are made by their army chiefs, their prime ministers, sometimes their former cricketers, and the kind of things that they indulge in and, back is no secret. And I think the functioning of Pakistani state is questionable, is not something that can allow India to be friends with them, and that needs to be fixed. I'm not saying a common Pakistani is like that. Common Pakistani doesn't know, but you have to pay the price of how your government or your army is or your ISI is and how they are running things. So that also cannot be ignored. Rajiv is saying, Nikhil, credit goes to PCB. If PCB doesn't stand for BCB, BCB doesn't get anything. Yes, credit goes to PCB for that. But I'll tell you one thing honestly, even if people from Pakistan are watching me, they'll agree that they stood for BCB, but that was a smoke screen. The real pain, why they stood or why they wanted to get back, was to get back at India for whatever happened in Asia Cup. That was the crux of the matter. They were upset about that. They were just waiting for an opportunity. And then this thing came along and they said, oh, let's jump in. This is our opportunity. to get back at the ICC or Indian cricket. And that's what they did. Just wanted to show that this is what we can do. We can threaten, we'll pull out of the game, and it'll hurt ICC, so on and so forth. So, yes, they stood by their word. They stood by Bangladesh Cricket Board, and because of them standing like that, Bangladesh Cricket Board benefited. I agree, completely agree. But you know, I'd be lying, and people in Pakistan who took the call, whether it's the government or PCB, will also be lying if they say it was only about Bangladesh. Heart of heart, they know it was about the hurt that they had. Uh, Sahil is saying Mohsin Naqvi just said he didn't demand anything for Park, but only demanded for Bang. Yes, Sahil, you're right. He said it, and right now there is nothing to prove that he did, because the ICC release doesn't say that, the PCB release doesn't say that, the Bangladesh Cricket Board release doesn't say that. That may be the truth as well. And so I'm only going to stick to fact that's been mentioned. So, and for that I've analyzed the entire thing. ADJ is saying, can you say my name? It's Emma Javed. Okay, if you had written Emma Javed, I would have said that. I only take the name that comes on the screen. So that was Emma Javed's question. Science, I think that's the name, right? He's saying, do you think Asia Cup can be saved now? I think now there is a chance. I think because of what has been agreed on, there is an increasing chance that now that Bangladesh is okay with it, Pakistan seems okay with what's happened, India didn't even get involved in all of this. I think Asia Cup can be saved now. Okay. Dheeraj is saying, why ICC visit Pakistan if Pakistan wants to boycott? Then ICC should minus Pakistan, and ICC should think tournament minus Pakistan and Bangladesh. ICC should encourage Nepal cricket. Dheeraj, you make a valid point, and that's exactly what I've said in this video. As I said, this situation, kudos to ICC. They've brought things under control, and they've, from their point of view, this is what they're supposed to be doing. They are the custodians of the game, and they have to, manage the sport. They have to ensure that all matches happen. So they've done it, but they have to now keep in mind that if this happens, then everyone will keep threatening, and any international governing body cannot function like that. So you'll have to fix this. So maybe that's why I'm saying stop marketing India Pakistan as the biggest game. 2023 50 over World Cup, there were games that that had higher television ratings than India Pakistan. Anupam Gaurav Patra is saying all depends on 15th Feb. Whoever loses, it's unfair with players now. Yeah, but that's been the case since Asia Cup. That's why I said at the conclusion of the tournament, I was there. I was very happy India won and they were the best team. But somewhere, I mean, I've covered many tournaments in about 25 years that I've been working. But that was, at the end of it, it got too much. It was too much politics. At the end of the day, I was hoping that I wish I could have concentrated on cricket, some good performances with India, and I could have spoken about that in detail rather than what I was discussing, match referee and this area they've shot, buses waiting at the hotel, will they go and play or not, and all those things. So yeah. Oh, Anik is saying, do you believe USA South Asia envoy had a role in resolving the situation? Oh, no, I don't think so. I think the Pakistan release makes it pretty clear, as well as Bangladesh with the ICC. I think everyone took a step forward, and that's how they came at a common ground. So I think, but and as Pakistan release acknowledges that the fact that the Sri Lankan premier called, and the UAE board called, many other boards called. So I think base says that I think they eventually took that call. Rajat Sachdeva is saying, Nixa, can you say Pakistan ne thuk ke chada? Rajat, if you've been seeing the video, you'll go back and you'll hear me say that. Okay, somebody's given me a book suggestion. Thank you very much. I love reading books. So another question. Seansh is asking, is there an increase in park revenue? No. That hasn't been given. So that's also a lot of misreporting. No increase in park revenue. So that's also not happened. Amir is saying not punishing Bangladesh will set a precedent and nobody can pull out of the tournament without getting punished. Yeah, true, true. I think that in a way at that time I agree. You pulled out at the 11th hour. There should have been a punishment, but as I said, there were a lot of things at stake for ICC, and they have taken many a steps back to ensure that the tournament doesn't go without an India-Pakistan game. It goes on to prove, whether you like it or not, that for from their point of view, it is an important game. That's really proven, because to give an extra tournament out of the blue, to say we will not sanction you despite you pulling out and not listening to the vote, the board voted 14-2 and they pulled out. So yeah, clearly they have made some exceptions for Bangladesh. World exercising PCB got Babaji ka Tullo. That may be the case. You may be right, or none of those things were discussed as well, because that's what some other people are claiming. We won't know till you really have the minutes of the meeting, or if any of the three parties mentioned that so many things were requested and we refused, but nobody has said that for now. Berlin is saying, don't you think the broader answer here is Bangladesh and Pakistan have united and cricket is separate, but geopolitics, this is a backstep for us? Very good question. I'll answer and let this be the last question. See, I'll tell you what. Yes, Bangladesh and Pakistan have come together, and is it bad for India geopolitically? I'll tell you what, I'm not too worried with this. I give you the reason. I think this was a marriage of convenience. I think this was done by Pakistan, and this is my assumption, like it or not, more so for what was happening to them rather than really caring for Bangladesh. They were actually firing the gun on Bangladesh's shoulders, but the main hurt was what happened in the Asia Cup to Pakistan. They wanted to get back at India for that, and they wanted to show the world that what they can do if they pull out of an India-Pakistan game. So I think it was done primarily for that. Bangladesh issue just happened to have come up, and that proved to be the deflecting point. That's it. So whether this will continue geopolitically, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. And remember, India, Bangladesh are also going to be hosting a World Cup together. Now they've got another tournament. So maybe not. And don't forget, geopolitically, Bangladesh and Pakistan have a history of a lot of differences, far more than India and Bangladesh have had. In fact, India, Bangladesh have been allies for many years. So I don't read too much into it, and I don't think it should worry Indians too much. Okay, on that note, I'm going to call it a night. Thank you guys, all of you who joined me live. Those of you who joined me a little later, do check out the entire video. I mention a lot of important details right at the start, as I always do. But I'd love to know your comments. For those of you who couldn't join me live, do leave a comment on the video once it's done, and we'll read that and try to incorporate in some of our shows going forward. For the moment, good night, take care. Nikhilnaz signing off.